I'd just like to thank the team here. It's really amazing that they do these workshops. It's fantastic. Free stuff in New York City. It's not always easy to come by. That's got good quality, so it's wonderful. So thanks for joining us today. My name is Andrew Frank, and this is Balancing Goals and Life for Artists, Quick and Simple Strategies. I am an artist. I am a theater artist originally. I also run nonprofit companies. I'm the executive director of New York City Children's Theater. I was also recently the interim executive director of Queen's Symphony Orchestra. I also have a consulting company called Frank Ventures LLC, where we do organizational management. I do personal coaching. I work with artists and entrepreneurs like yourself, and I Skype with them, and we do all kinds of things. I've got clients all over the world, and I'm a single parent to a 9-year-old boy. So needless to say, this is all material that's good for me. I need it on a regular basis. The figuring out how to balance your life is a regular challenge for me, something I'm working on all of the time. So the opportunity to share with you, to talk about it with you, this is all material that I am working on myself every day. Ah, more people. Come. Welcome. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Here's a quick little POP agenda. For those of you corporate world know what a POP agenda looks like. Purpose, outcome, process. The purpose of this workshop is to draw attention to the challenges of balancing work and life as an artist. Okay, we want to look at it. That's the purpose. That's why we're here. The outcomes. I'd like all of you to walk away with a set or even just one SMART goal. So again, write stuff down and take notes. We'll come back to it, and we can come back to like, what is a really good SMART goal? But a SMART goal is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Okay? A SMART goal isn't I'm going to lose weight. Okay, a SMART goal is I want to lose 10 pounds by January 1st. Right, that's a specific. Okay, the process, we're going to do a quick little gratitude thing, then we're going to look at the challenges of living a balanced life. We'll look at some models of change, some specific strategies, decision-making, scheduling, priorities, budgeting, support, some tips. This is basically what we're going to do. Okay? Actually, I have to apologize. Number 7 is going to come a little bit earlier. I've actually adjusted this since I've printed it up. Okay? Great. So before we go, I know we're not going to do questions, but like I have to do this spiritually for me. Everybody's just got to say, we're going to do really quick 10 things that this room is grateful for. Just shout something out.
Growth.
Great. Growth. What else? What's that? Opportunity. That's great. Family. Fantastic. Interacting. I love that. That's beautiful. Knowledge. Thank you. Come on. What's that? Health? Fantastic. Health. 3 more? Learning. Great. Wisdom. And the spectacular day we had yesterday, the sun and the warmth and everything. Thank you. It is absolutely important. The key to life, one of the keys to life, is being grateful for where you are and what you're doing. It is scientifically proven to help you learn, to help you be more balanced, to help you be happier. So thank you for that. Okay, so the first thing is, if we're going to get better at being balanced, at approaching our lives of balance, of balancing our art, our family, our finances, we need to recognize what the challenges are. We need to understand the beast that we're wrestling, right? It can't just be stumbling around in the dark. And the challenges of living a balanced life, I think, are actually pretty specific. So why don't you guys write down, take a second and write down for yourselves what the challenges are to you. Okay, and then when we're finished with this presentation, we can come back and we can start talking about them and looking at them. All right? So take a second and do that. I've got up here what I think are, to myself, really what makes living a balanced life as an artist particularly challenging. There are many options to consider and many decisions to be made. You're constantly looking at decision making. You're constantly looking at different options. Do I shoot here? Do I shoot there? Do I take this assignment? Do I take this opportunity? Do I take the day off? Do I stop working? Do I pay this bill? Do I pay that bill? Right? Who do I see? Who do I spend my time with? Lots of options. When you have a 9-to-5 job and you're not living life as an artist and your life is pretty routine, this isn't a challenge. It's not the same kind of challenge. Situations can change frequently and unexpectedly. If you're gigging and you're an artist, the gigs can come in and they can go away. Right? Things pop up out of the blue and they disappear. All of a sudden, you get 3 assignments and you got to jam them all into a weekend. Right? This is not typical of somebody, again, who's got a regular job. This is an artist lifestyle concern. That makes it really hard to difficult to plan. It makes it hard to plan. Because I don't know what I'm going to happen this weekend. Am I shooting a wedding? Am I going to meet my collaborator? Am I going to get something out? If I'm taking gigs, it's really hard to plan. One of the challenges I hear frequently from artists in their lives is like, I don't take vacation. I'm afraid to take vacation. I'm afraid to go away. Right? Because if I leave, I may miss out on some gigs. I may miss something. Really hard to plan. I don't know what's going to happen. There are extreme ups and downs. You get a great gig and you're up. And then all of a sudden nothing happens for 2 months and you're down. Right? This is a typical challenge of a very put together lifestyle. Right? Up and down. So make sure you guys have written down a challenge or two that you think is really specific. Okay. So we want to get better at balancing our lives. Great. I have clients all the time, they just say, I'm just going to get better at it. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm just going to get better. I'm going to be more productive. I'm going to be more organized. The thing is that people don't change that way. That's not the way it happens. There are lots of sociological studies that have shown that there are different patterns of the way people change. And I want to set you guys up for success, which means being realistic and understanding that you're going to, if you really are interested in living a better balanced life and a more productive life and being able to accomplish what you want to accomplish, you're going to have to say to yourself, I'm not going to be able to do it all tomorrow. I'm going to have to learn new patterns. I'm going to have to learn new skills. Okay? And I'm just going to demonstrate for you, just give you a little insight into 2 different ways that sociologists, behavioral people have looked at how people change, just to prove to you that it isn't as simple as tomorrow we can wake up and live a more balanced life. Here are 2 classic versions. One's called the conscious competence learning model, towards making your skills second nature, and the other one is the Prochaska model, 6 stages of change. The second one was really developed in studies of smoking, but I'll just look at them really quick. This is called the conscious competence model. I love this. So let's just take driving as an example, right? You don't know when you're 5 years old or 10 years old that you want to drive. Okay, so you're in an unconscious incompetence spot. You don't know that you want it, and you're not competent in it, right? That's the first stage. Okay, so then what happens is you turn 12 years old, and you realize, I want to learn how to drive. Or in my case, my 9-year-old, he's already like talking about wanting to drive, right? So, but what he realizes is that he can't. So he's in stage 2. He's consciously incompetent. Right? It's, I'm aware of what I want to do, but I'm not competent in it. I don't know how to do it. So now, okay, as I have my heart in my mouth and I think about my son taking driving lessons and learning how to drive, he learns how to drive. But when you first learning how to drive, if anybody learned to drive stick, right? I mean, like that's like a nightmare. It's so conscious. You're so thinking about foot on the clutch, going into first gear, second gear, third gear. You are in a conscious competence spot. I can do it. but I'm very conscious of what I'm doing. There's a red light, I press the brake. At some point, after you've driven stick a long enough time and you've driven, you're no longer conscious of it, and you move into the unconscious competence stage. You just drive. It's part of your being. Does that make sense? You don't get to go from 1 to 4. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. The good news is that you don't beat yourself up when you try to live a more balanced life next week and you struggle with it. What you discover is like, oh, I can live a more balanced life, and you start working on it and you get better at it. And as time goes, you eventually get so good at it, you're not conscious of it anymore. It's just the way you live. But you got to move through it. Here's another version. This was really designed for, not designed for, but it was in studies of smokers, pre-contemplation, right? I'm not even thinking about quitting smoking. I'm a smoker. I'm an ex-smoker. I totally identify with this. I don't want to think about it, right? I don't want to think about it. The second stage is, I'm thinking about it. You know, I really should quit smoking. This isn't good for me. Okay, the third one is like, I'm preparing. Right? On New Year's, I've got the patch, I'm getting, Chantix, whatever it is, and I'm going to think about it. Then you take action. There's the moment that you stop. Okay? And then there's the maintenance of it. This really sucks. I miss it. I've got cravings. And then at some point, it ends, the process ends, and you're no longer a smoker if you hold on to it. Now, people cycle back. You get through 1, 2, 3, you take action, you slide back, you got to contemplate it again, you got to go through. But again, you don't get to go from contemplation to maintenance. Sometimes they can be shorter, sometimes they can be longer, but they got to go one step at a time. You know what's really fascinating is that if you've ever tried to help somebody, only certain bits of information help other people during different stages. If you've got somebody in contemplation mode and you spring them an article about the horrible health that it does, they may be like, I'm not ready to think about that. Get out of my way. Leave me alone. Whereas somebody who is in the action stage and they're looking at it, they might find that article really helpful because it's keeping them motivated. Certain types of help you at different stages. Okay? But the message that I want you guys to understand is that self-improvement doesn't come when you wake up in the morning. You don't get to just decide in the morning, oh, I'm going to be better. You got to work at it, and it takes time, and you got to be gentle with yourself. Okay? Great. Okay. The number one thing we're going to move into now, the number one thing on living a balanced life and being productive is being able to set your priorities. Okay? So what I'd like everybody to do is to take a quick moment, we'll count to a minute here, and write down what the top 3 priorities are in your life. Write them down. Take this moment to think about it. We'll come back later and discuss, but write it down. What are your top 3 priorities? Is it easy to figure out what they are? Do you just know? Did you put family? Did you put money? Did you put health? Did you jump right to career? Okay. For those of you that are struggling with this or wondering about it, this is something called the life wheel. Okay? This is an exercise that you can do later, that I do every 6 months. You write in the middle of each, you write in each part of the pie a different area of your life. You write artistic work, financial work, family, spirituality, home life. You write it all down, and then you write in the middle your level of current happiness or satisfaction from 0 to 10. And then on the outside, you write your level of satisfaction that you desire from 0 to 10. and then you look at those two numbers. So I might look at finances and say I'm currently at a 7. The truth is my desired level of satisfaction for finances is not a 10. I don't value money on that level. I want to have enough money to do the things that I want to do, but I don't want to do. So my desired level of satisfaction may only be an 8. So maybe I'm not stressed about that difference. Whereas my artistic work, my satisfaction level is only a 3 at the moment because I'm running around and I'm doing so much work and I'm hustling for things. But my desired level of satisfaction is a 9. So that difference is a 5. That's a bigger difference. So when I look at my priorities, that's going to move up the list on priorities. The trick with priorities is to understand that it's holistic. Priorities are never at the, you have to see it as you have a certain life. You have 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, and you can't do everything. So you have to include, when you're thinking about priorities, your family, your health, your mental state, right? A lot of times I work with people and they say, well, my priority is to get my career on track. Great, but how many hours a week do you have to dedicate to that priority? My priority is to make more money. Fantastic, but how are we going to do that? I'm a single parent. I have many nights I am with my child. That is the most important thing. So when a friend of mine says, Andrew, you really need to get this workshop material in a workbook so that you can sell it on the internet and make some money, I think that's really fantastic. And you want to give me a couple of more days in my week for which to put together the workbook? I don't have the time. It's not yet high enough on my priority list. Maybe someday it will be. But everything that comes later in balancing your life is going to come from these decisions, and you can redo them. Another way to look at prioritizing is to make a list of everything you do in your life and say, like 20 things, and do them in Excel. I like to do it in Excel sometimes too. And I say, which of these things get a 10? Which of these things don't? That make sense? Okay, great. So we're going to start with this idea of okay, I'm going to execute my priorities. I'm going to see that I want to make sure that I am staying in good health, that I am taking care of my family, and that I am making sure my bills are paid, and I'm developing my photography career. And those are my top priorities. So then we start looking at things and seeing, do they fit into this, right? It's really hard to balance if you're working on 17 things. Okay, so here's some, we're going to start moving our way into some strategies. Okay, we're going to start moving our way into strategies and how we work on them. So the first thing is looking at timelines. It's really hard to balance if you don't have a realistic understanding of when you're going to execute what. So I love artists. I mean, I'm an artist. I spend my life with artists. I love artists. But when I do this and an artist says to me, my goal is to finish a feature film in the year, I think to myself, okay. People who spend their entire lives working on a feature film might have a hard time getting it done in a year. Much less somebody who is part-time working a job and is in a relationship and has got a parent, right? I mean, it's not a realistic time frame. So if we want to start looking at time frames, you want to start saying, in 5 years, I want to be have finished a feature film. Well, then what do I need to do in 3 years to be set up for that? What do I need to be, where do I need to be in 1 year to set up for that? Where do I need to be in 6 months, 3 months? It's calculated. For everything on your priority list, we could start looking at and say, where do I want it to be 3 years from now? Right? So we can't just sort of have these sort of flat, oh, I want to make something happen. We want to put them on some kind of schedule. It'll help you balance, right? We've got to be able to make choices. So here we go, back to SMART goals. So I want to make a movie. Great, like you want to make a feature, how long? Is it a feature film? It's a 10-minute film. I want to have a photo in a gallery. I want to have a photo in a gallery. Great. How many photos? Is it going to be your own? Where is that gallery going to be? How are you going to get it there? We want to start breaking it down into very specific chunks. Goals that are not specific, that are not measurable, that are not achievable or realistic or time-bound, are there to just torture us. That's what they do, because we can't achieve them and we can't measure our success in any kind of way, right? I mean, like, again, if we're starting with the premise of, I want to improve my life, I want to get better at balancing my life, I want to be more productive, I want to execute more things that I'm dreaming about, that I'm fantasizing about, then we need strategies that are going to help us get there. This is possibly one of the most important pieces of how to do it, setting goals that we can actually measure. So we say, okay, you're going to shoot a 10-minute film. Great. You want to be able to do a screening of a 10-minute film. Let me just work with this for a second. I want to have my 20 closest friends come to my place and watch a 10-minute film that I've shot on my big screen television. Okay, I want that to happen in 9 months. Okay, it's specific, it's measurable, it's actionable. Is it realistic? I think so. It's time-bound. So then as we're moving through the process, we can start saying, are we hitting our goals? Are we getting there? Are we not? Why not? Okay? Everything that we're going to do, I'm going to look more, should fit into a plan for success. I tell you my favorite thing about plans. My favorite thing about plans is ignoring them. Like, my favorite thing is to set up a plan and then to be a rebel against my own plan. I like to play hooky on my own ideas, but that is at least something that I know what I'm doing, right? I have a plan. I'm going to change the plan. I'm going to rebel against it. But when I don't have one, and I'm lost and I'm surfing around, then I can't move through anything. All right. We're okay? Everybody take a quick second and write down a SMART goal for themselves. Take a second. Write down a SMART goal. I want to, blah, blah, blah. I want to. Great. Okay. Decision making. Decision making. So when you're working as an artist and you're doing lots of different things, or you're an entrepreneur, one of the things that you're doing is making a lot of decisions. I'm choosing this, I'm choosing that, I'm making this deal, I'm asking for this, I'm choosing, this meeting, not that meeting. I'm taking this opportunity, not that opportunity. Where I'm going on vacation, I'm not, lots of regular decisions. It's important for you to know how you make decisions. So everybody knows the pros and cons, right? That's like the most classic thing. I'm stuck. Do I take this opportunity? Well, make a list of pros and cons, right? We make a little line down the middle and the top. You write pros on one side, cons on the other, and you write it down. A little bit of tidbit information for you. You know who has credit for creating this model? It didn't come out of it. It's Benjamin Franklin, inventor of Americana. He actually did. And actually what's interesting is in the description that he wrote in a letter to a friend, he weighted pros and cons. So two pros might weight against one con. And he would literally cross them off until he got to an end. That's probably the only decision-making process that we culturally have together. It's the only one that we really know. There's a great book called Decision that proposes another model, which I think is really nice. It's called WRAP, where the first thing you do is you look at widening your options. Do I have any other options in front of me? I have to choose whether I'm going to take on this client or not, and it's problematic. Are there any other options? Can I share this client? Can I give this client to somebody else and take credit? Can I push off this client? What other options do I have? You're widening it. And then reality testing your assumptions. If I work with this client, I might get myself into a lot of trouble. Is that true? Can I test it? Can I call somebody that's worked with this person? Can I do it? Reality testing the assumptions. Attain distance before deciding. Well, the client's coming to me with a nice offer and a lot of money. I need to sleep on it. I'll get back to you in 3 days. Getting some distance. And then the last one, prepare to be wrong. No, this client's going to be a mess, but I'm going to do it for the money. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe it won't be. Right? This is a model for decision making. It's nice. It's interesting anyway. I like it. But here's the kicker. For me, this is an aha moment, and I use this in my organizations when I work. I use it with my clients. In studies of businesses, on stockbrokers, on corporate people that are making decisions, when they look at how valuable or how successful a decision was, what they find is that the process, having a process for decision making, is what makes the decision better, not the data. This runs counterintuitive to what we think. Oh, I need more data. How do I decide whether or not merging with this other company is a good idea? Let's do lots of studies. Let me get more data. How do I decide if I'm going to sell this or buy this or take on this opportunity? Let me get more data. If I get more data. I know a lot of people that their version of decision making is to get lots of data and to do lots and lots of research. What the studies show is that doesn't make a better decision. It doesn't help you make a better decision. What helps you make a better decision is a process for decision making. So you don't need to get bogged down in having every bit of information. You need to have a process. And any process that's a process is better than not having one, and better than just collecting data and reading data. Does that make sense? I think it would be interesting for you to reflect on, how do I make decisions? Do I sit on them and go to sleep at night and come back to it? Do I hold off on decisions? Do I call my best friend? Do I call my parent? What do I do? I have some trusted advisor. Do I have a coach? What do I do? How do I make decisions? Having a process for decision making is really helpful and necessary for moving through a life that requires lots of decisions. So again, I'm just going to tie this back. We're looking at the challenges of this life. One of the challenges of a life that's got lots of things going on is lots of decisions. Now, obviously, some decisions, like what am I going to eat for lunch, you don't necessarily need a process for it, right? But in terms of career decisions, life decisions, does this make sense? Great. Okay, so I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to get more granular. All right? The next thing is on scheduling. I have a little schedule for you up over here. How many people, just quick show of hands, have a schedule that they really understand what time is for what, or what time is dedicated to certain areas of their life? Good. Taking the time to actually write out a weekly schedule like this, where it says, I'm really make sure that every Sunday is really family time. For me, I'm a single parent, so this says children on Tuesday, Thursdays. Actually, mine is Wednesdays and Thursdays, and every other Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But that's time for my son that I don't want to give up for work. It's important to me. It also means that I'm home. So then when he goes to sleep at 9 o'clock, I'm available to Skype with clients. So then what happens is I notice that I do a lot of personal coaching on Wednesdays and Thursday nights starting at 9 o'clock. And if I've got clients in Europe and clients in the West Coast, scheduling works out and I can do a lot of work and be productive in that time, or I write in that time. So actually taking the step of going through and laying out a schedule and looking at what the patterns are and putting it in colors and seeing it is a strategy for balancing. And it can change, but when you actually put it down and you look at it, what you notice is how much time am I spending, and then is it matching your priorities? When I look at how much time I spend on work or how much time I spend on with my family, is it actually matching what my priorities are? Yeah? This is just fun. I saw this article. We captured this. This is some famous people on when they did what. So you can see, which is really kind of fun, that there is no right schedule. You know, you hear this if you're a writer. Oh, get up in the morning and write. You got to write every morning. Great. Well, you can look and see like when Victor Hugo actually wrote, or when, you know, the Balzac actually was productive, and nothing is the same. You got to figure out what works for you. Yeah, I mean, it's really important to understand your patterns, but this is just a great little example of seeing when Mozart wrote, when he was composing. I mean, it's like the middle of the night, right? Totally fun. Okay. Everybody keep a budget. We're going to keep going granular. Budget. How many people actually keep a budget? Okay. I hate keeping budgets. I hate it. I don't want to look at my own. I don't like it. Frequently it's depressing. There's never enough of it. And looking at it is really hard. It is impossible to be a successful artist without understanding the money of your life. Yeah, it's, you know, you could win the lottery, or you could get a photo that gets sold to Time or something that's ridiculous, and all of a sudden your life changes. But for the reality of most of us that are actually working through it, it's a grind. And it's a week-to-week, month-to-month grind. So understanding how much money you make from the different sources and how much money you spend, and writing it out and having a strategy for it is crucial. So like on this, I wrote a really just simple budget. I mean, obviously, we're not talking major numbers here, but as a teaching salary, freelance writing, artist grant, support from family, right? It's from different areas. The truth is, most of us, it's like 10 things long. When I was really freelancing as a theater director, it was like I had a adjunct class at NYU, I had, you know, freelance gigs, and then I would get a grant from somebody, and then I picked up like a lighting design job, and then, you know, I wound up, you know, babysitting for something like that. It was like this collection. But it's really important to understand where it's coming from and the different areas so you can balance and you can see how much is coming from where and how to make adjustments. And then you really need to know where it's going out. Yeah? There's lots of internet places that you can hop on that'll help you build budgets. I mean, you can really do it in Excel. You can do it on a piece of paper. The issue is giving it attention and having the brave reality to actually look at it and go, wow, this is how much I make and this is how much I spend. I work with a lot of artists who are trying to increase the amount of money they make from their art. And so they say, you know, I'm a tour guide and I make all my money as a tour guide, but I'm also a photographer. And I want to start making some money doing my photography, doing wedding photography or doing portraits. And it's like, okay, well, we're not going to go from 0 to 60. It's like the stages. We're not going to go from, okay, you're making $50,000 a year as a tour guide to you're making $50,000 a year doing portrait photography. But we can start looking at it and saying, maybe the first goal is $500 a month. And if that $500 a month means that you can take one less shift in your tour guide, that's great. And then maybe after 6 months, maybe we could, a year, strategize for that going to $750 a month or $1,000 a month. Is a goal at the end of 1 year to make $1,000 a month being an artist. That would be great. I can't live on it. But if I've got other things and I'm balancing and putting it together, I can make a life. And then maybe 3 years, 5 years. Okay? So you kind of just hear what I just did is I slipped in SMART goals with a timed schedule and the budgets as I'm sort of strategizing a life that gets me more art, less day job, and a better balance of the things that I want to do. Yeah? Great. Okay. Support. This is like one of my favorite things that I just think gets tremendously overlooked in the world of being an artist, which is, where does your support come from? Are you cultivating that support? Are you feeding it? So who supports you financially? Who supports you emotionally? When you are freaked out because a client told you that your work was horrible and it wasn't what they wanted and they're not going to pay you your fee and it's a big thing and you are ready to combust, where do you go for support? Or if you are working 80 hours and you're exhausted and you're beyond your ability to think rationally, where do you go for emotional support? If you're an artist and you can't afford therapy, then like you've got somebody else in your life. And if you've got a significant other, they've got their own problems and they probably, you know, have a limited amount of it. Is it a best friend? Where is it? And then whoever that person or that group is, how are you taking care of them? That's the piece that we miss. We frequently don't know how to or pay attention to feeding the areas of support. If you get financial support, I've been lucky enough over the years to get patrons to support art projects. Do I call them? Do I email them? Do I send them letters? How am I letting them know that I appreciate it? How am I taking care of them so that they will continue to support me? Who do I go to artistically to say, look at this work of art, give me a critique, I want your feedback, I want to get better as an artist? Every artist I know has gotten bad feedback from people, and that's hurtful, that's challenging. So where do we go? Do you have mentors? Do you have classes? Do you have teachers that you cultivate, that you work with, that give you artistic support? Right? It's crucial because there's lots of noise. There's lots of like, what's that? That's junky. That's not interesting. Where is the critique? Where is the support that makes you get better? And then how are you cultivating it? Your friends, your family, your colleagues. I once went through an emotional period of my life and I leaned on 4 friends of mine and I just cried into their ear for about a month. And then I realized at some point that I had not asked them a single question about how they were doing for like a month because I was completely self-indulgent. And I sent them all like Amazon gift cards as a, I love you and you're my friend and I've completely indulged my own emotional narcissism for the last month. Please forgive me. And as a token of me understanding it, here's a $50 gift card from Amazon. Please just treat yourself to something on me because you need to know that I appreciate you. We don't regularly take care of our friends in that way. And those people have stayed very close and they're really wonderful. And they probably didn't need it. But to me, it was important to let them know that I was in a relationship with them and I was aware of what was going on. So what are you currently doing to utilize your support? I think it's a fantastic exercise to write down, who do I go to for financial help? Who do I go to for artistic support? Who do I go to for emotional support? Who are they? When was the last time I saw them? Write it down. Become conscious of it. Yeah? Everybody could like write down a list of who their support people are. Great. If I ever, I don't get this often, but when I talk to high school students and they say, how do I be a successful artist? It's like, figure out how to support your network now and keep track of people and keep them together and connected. Because over your lifetime, that's going to be one of the biggest indicators of, are you successful? Can you keep track of the support network? Yeah? Okay. So we're going to come up here to the end. We're going to just do some tips for success. And then we'll go back and we can do some discussion on some stuff. You got to celebrate victories. You got to celebrate little victories. You need to make sure there's joy in your life on a regular basis. You got to know how to celebrate little victories. So little victory, I got a new client today. It's great. What am I doing tonight? Am I cooking an extra meal? Am I going to a movie? Is it a glass of wine? What is it? But we don't consciously celebrate our successes enough. In fact, most of the time when I work with people, they say, I got a new client. Great, now I got to make sure that I do it right and I follow up and I got to start the new invoicing process that I keep promising myself I'm going to do and the rest of that. We go straight into the angst of doing well rather than actually taking a moment to celebrate. Number 2 is tracking your progress. One of my best friends who's in Los Angeles, 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago, didn't have a job. And he was like, I got to go get a job. And he got into social media, started working social media for a company. And now he's left the company, he's doing it freelance, and he's got a freelance job, and he's got a freelance life like we're talking about. And it's a challenge. And I always say, and he says to me, my life's a mess, and it's so horrible, and I'm not making any money. And I keep saying to him, but 2.5 years ago, you didn't even have a job, and now you're making a living wage as a freelance social media person in 2.5 years. That's like the definition of success to me. That's hugely successful. But he's so in the trees. He's not able to be outside it, to look at his progress. So as a result, he just sees everything that's not working. In fact, a lot of times I feel like my job when people hire me as a personal coach is just to let them know, look, you're doing well. You see how you did this better than you did it 3 months ago, than you did it 6 months ago? You got to track your progress. Otherwise, you just get lost in the muck of it, and you don't see the progress. You don't see the change. Harry and I were just talking about kids earlier, and I said, you know, my time and my life has gone so much faster since I became a parent. It's because I'm looking at somebody else grow. Like the progress, tracking the progress, seeing somebody else move has an effect on me. It demonstrates to me time is passing. When you're not looking at it, when you're not seeing it, time doesn't move as fast. So if you're looking at your growth as an artist, you want to track. I sold a picture today. I've done this amount this month. This is how many clients I have. You want to track it. It's also, studies show that when you track, you do better. In fact, there's a weight loss study where somebody did some studies where all they did was track their weight and they lost weight. Just the tracking piece of it made it better because, again, we bring attention to it. So it's really crucial. And the third thing is have a holistic approach. This comes back to like my life wheel and my sense of telling you that prioritizing is always about your whole life. When people come to me, and like I'll get an actor that'll come to me and say, Andrew, I want to work with you. I want to work on my acting career. I want an agent. I'm like, that's great. Is there anything else you want to work on in your life? Nope, the rest of my life is great. So, okay, there are better people than me to help you. There are people out there who specialize in knowing which agents are hot and what you do and what's the latest form of the resume. That's not me. What I see as life growth is you're always working on everything. You're always working on everything. You are a human being. You walk every day, you wake every day, you move through your day being an artist, a parent, a partner, a friend, a child, a worker, a colleague, a collaborator. That's who you are every day. So it's very hard to isolate and work on one piece. You got to kind of understand that you're always working on all of it. And when it comes to balancing, if you're not aware of that, it's like impossible, because it's all moving with each other. As soon as you spend more time here, you're giving up over there, right? So a holistic approach is important. That wraps up my sequence of it. I hope you could sort of see the sort of structure that I moved through with it, and that you want to change, you want to make your life better, you want to be more balanced and have more productivity. You want to start by accepting the fact that that's going to take some time. You're going to want to set priorities, and then you're going to want to figure out how to strategize executing those priorities by time, decision-making, budgets. And if you're gentle with yourself and you celebrate yourself, you really can do better. You really can. And, you know, it's not in our DNA. You know, we weren't born with the DNA of juggling this world. We're much simpler in the insides of our being. We're much more eat and live and, you know, have children, and that's what's in our DNA. Not juggling 16 jobs, managing a smartphone, and dealing with all the stimuli. So you have to be good to yourself and recognize that this is a skill set to learn. It's a skill set to develop, and it's not easy, and you just need to get better at it. And if you do, you'll find it satisfying and you'll get better. My email address is andrewifrank@gmail.com. My website is andrewifrank.com. I do free phone consultations if you join my mailing list. I am more than happy to get on the phone with you and chat. This is my 4th workshop here. A number of people after workshops have followed up with me. I do everything I can to just sort of be helpful. My belief is that the more successful artists in the world, the better place the world will be. And we all need support, and we all need love, and we all need it to be successful, because that's what we need, not enough support in the artistic community. So I'm part of the support piece of it, because I need it from other people too. So feel free to reach out. It's a genuine offer. And that's it. Thank you very much, and thanks for coming today.
Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, B&H has the answers to your questions. Experience a world of technology at our New York City Superstore. Connect with us online or give us a call. Our staff of experts is happy to help.